What's good, everybody? Y'all know what it is, man. It's Mr. CDK. This is Sports Talk Network, and we don't play. We in the building. Man. It's another beautiful day. It's Wednesday. You know what I'm saying? April the 2nd. That's what it is, man. April the 2nd. And I'm just happy, man. Like I say all the time, man, I'm blessed and highly favored. No matter what's going on in life, I know that God got me, and everything's going to be all right. The few things we're going to get into today, definitely talking about Deontay Wilder and BLK Prime as he makes his return to the ring, to the square circle. We're going to get off into that. We're going to get off also into talking about, Mr. Shushu Courage and Cool Boy. There's a lot of things going on right now behind the scenes in the sport of boxing, man. A lot of things that, I want to get into. I want to wait till my brother, Mr. Free, get up here so I can really talk about, Wild in his situation, man, because I want to get a lot of feedback on that. I like to see what he thinks about it. I want to know what y'all think about it. You know what I'm saying? Deontay Wilder, is it time to hang the gloves up? What should Wilder do? You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, man, we are our own worst enemy when it comes to being able to say enough is enough. You know what I'm saying? We have a problem being able to say, man, it's time to walk away. When you've been doing something for so long and been so good at it and you enjoy and love it, it's hard to walk away. And for Wilder to continue to want to get in the ring, man, to want to step in the ring, that tells me that he still has a love for the sport of boxing. You understand what I'm saying? Wilder loves the sport of boxing. I don't believe he's doing it for money anymore. There's no need for Wilder to box anymore for money. He just loves the sport, man. He loves the competition, and I respect it and I understand it. But like I said, sometimes we can be our own worst enemy because it becomes hard to walk away from what we love to do, man. But we all get old. Father Time is undefeated. We all know that, and things change. And the boxing world is changing right now. The heavyweight division is making a swing, as we see right now, Usyk being the king. And then we got Big Daniel, man. You know what I'm saying? It seems like Daniel is right there on the cusp of taking over once Usyk is gone. I definitely would love to see those two guys tangle again. I think it was an excellent fight. I feel like that Daniel came up short on the strength of, you know what I'm saying? Hold on for a minute, A. Smith. I got to get my brothers in here and do what I do. Then I'm going to bring everybody up. I got to get the Sports Talk Network once they come in, get them up, and then, you know what I'm saying, I'll jump you on stage. I got a few more people coming up too. But I'm trying to see what they doing and when they going to get here or whatever. And I'm hoping that they come on in. Give me 1 second on that end right there. Yeah, but Wilder is definitely, man, somebody that you know what I'm saying, that I respect. I'm a fan of Wilder. But what I'm not, and I think this is the problem, you know what I'm saying? I think it's a big problem. One of the problems is people, you know what I'm saying, tend to not tell, like, you got people that's media. You know what I'm saying? You got people that's not in the media or whatever, and they don't tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? Hold on 1 second, y'all. I'm doing something. You got people that's in the media, you know what I'm saying, and or Wilder fans, or fans of any boxer. And I heard a lot of people talking to Wilder, but it's more of a yes man type of conversation than it should be. Hey man, we're concerned. You know what I'm saying? Why you getting back in there? Do you have anything left? They're not going to ask the questions that need to be asked. And that's the problem with, man, when you got these boxing channels and they're close to these boxers, they never ask the real hard questions. Uh, I was watching the other day an interview. I won't name the guy, and I just got to reading the comments because I wanted to see if people were thinking like I was thinking. And the first thing that I seen, the very first comment is, man, you let these guys come up here and say anything. You never push back. You don't say anything. People don't want you to have people come on your channel. You talk to these people and you don't, you know what I'm saying? You don't say anything at all. You don't give no feedback or none of that. That's not a good look. You understand what I'm saying? It's definitely not a good look. And I think I don't never want to be that guy. I don't want to be a guy that brings people up, you know what I'm saying? And then, at the end of the day, I don't ask the questions that people want to hear. And that's what usually happen, you know what I'm saying? 1 second. One second. Yeah, a lot of people, man, they don't ask the questions, the tough questions. They don't want to. They feel like when they ask the tough questions, you know what I'm saying, that when they ask these tough questions, they feel like that the person's not gonna come back on their channel. I feel like, man, the person's gonna gain more respect for you if you're respectful and you ask the right questions and you do it the right way. You don't have to beat a person up, you know what I'm saying, to ask tough questions. And I've seen Wilder is making his rounds. Wilder's going around. He's talking to people, you know what I'm saying? Wilder's doing interviews. He's doing everything he's supposed to be doing. But you can't tell Wilder, you know what I'm saying? You can't get the information you want out of Wilder if you're not answering the tough questions. And a lot of people have a problem answering these type of questions. You'll see them go, and you know what I'm saying? And I'm not even gonna say the channels he be on. Shout out to those guys because I have a lot of respect for those guys. But I think it's hard to ask Wilder questions when you're friends with them, when you hang out with them, when you're playing golf with them, when you hanging around a guy like that. You're never gonna give that person that, you know what I'm saying, the test, you know, and I think that everybody should be tested. I think Wilder right now, if I'm looking at Wilder, I'm gonna say this right here. Wilder got this upcoming fight, you know what I'm saying? Wilder, you know what I'm saying, last fight we seen him against Zhilei Zhang, you know what I'm saying? That was last June, you know what I'm saying? Wilder got knocked out. Wilder, you know what I'm saying, I believe, and I'm gonna get this right. Wilder has lost 4 of his last 5 fights, folks. And 3 of those fights, you know what I'm saying, 3 of those losses was via knockout. You know what I'm saying? So Wilder has lost 4 of his last fights. Now, we know Wilder has made great money in the ring. So I don't know what's left for Wilder. I don't know what he has to do. You know what I'm saying? Is there anything to prove? I don't believe, like I said, I don't believe Wilder needs the money. It's not there anymore. But when do you tell yourself, hey, man, I've done all I can do. I'm not what I once was. It's time to back up. It's time to let it go. Now, see, when you say stuff like that, some people are going to perceive it as hate. And then some people are going to be real and say, nah, that's not hate, man. The man just keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? And what I'm doing is keeping it real. I don't believe that Wilder, they keep talking about Turki Al-Sheikh said he wants to see Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua still. Okay, I can understand that. I understand that Turki still wants to see, you know what I'm saying, that fight. I have no problem with that. But I think that fight, man, is 10 years past now. That fight should have happened so long ago it doesn't make sense. Turki, you know what I'm saying, is you know what I'm saying, he's a fan of boxing just like us. And there's fights that he want to see. You know what I'm saying? And that fight that we want to see. But is that fight that I still want to see? I don't know. I don't know if I want to see Wilder and Anthony Joshua now. Man, I used to think about that fight all the time and what would happen. You know what I'm saying? If those 2 guys got in the ring. And now I look and think like, hey, man, I think Anthony Joshua has a little more left than the actual Wilder does. And that's just how I feel about it. I think Anthony Joshua still has, enough talent left. Anthony Joshua still can compete. He's not at the end of the road yet. So I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, if I really want to see those guys, you know what I'm saying, fight now. I don't know. Is it worth it? Y'all tell me. Wilder, like I said, he's fighting on, and another thing, he's fighting on BLK Prime now, folks. BLK Prime, to me, man, I watched their last event. Shout out to, you know what I'm saying, the guys that shout out to the guys that performed and got in the ring on BLK Prime. But listen, BLK Prime is the bottom of the barrel. We all know that. BLK Prime has the worst network as far as I've ever seen in my life. It's even TV shows that look bad on there. I've never seen anything like BLK Prime. BLK Prime, I would rather seen Deontay Wilder take a fight on Tubi. And we know Tubi don't even do fights. But I would rather see him go on Tubi and perform than to be on BLK Prime. It was a disgrace to see those guys fighting in what looked like, man, basically a nightclub. And that's what it was. It was nothing more than a nightclub they were fighting in. And at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, I really feel like that Wilder's doing this, you know what I'm saying? I feel like he still feel like he has something to prove. But Wilder's not pulling the trigger anymore. Now, I don't know what the reason behind it is, but when I watch Wilder fight, Wilder said in an interview, you know what I'm saying, that he got soft. He said that himself, he got soft. Man, listen, the right hand is there. But when you take away the right hand and you saying, what do the skills look like? I just think that Wilder is a average fighter at best. You know what I'm saying? Without that right hand. Wilder is an average fighter at best without the right hand. So I don't really have a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it is. And I truly hope that this guy he's fighting, Tyrell Herndon, I believe his name. He had 24 wins, 5 losses, 15 KOs. Now, out of those 5 losses, he was knocked out 4 times. I went down through the man's career to see had he faced anybody notable, any notable names. He had a fight with FL Jabba. He lost that fight. He lost to Richard Torres Jr. You know what I'm saying? Then, okay, those guys, we know Richard Torres Jr. is a guy with potential. We know Effie has great potential as a pretty decent fighter. You know what I'm saying? Someone might call Effie at the contender status now because he's definitely not a prospect anymore. He's been around too long. Richard Torres is still, in my eyes, a prospect, but hey, he's a prospect that a lot of people are high on. Now, the other losses this guy had, he lost to a guy that was 2-4, or Corey Barlow. He lost to a guy that was 4-0, Brandon Clayton, and he also lost to a guy. 1 second, y'all. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. Now I'm back, y'all. I'm sorry. He also lost to a guy that he lost to, like I said, he lost to a guy that was 4-0 in Brandon Clayton. He lost to a guy that was 4-1, and it looked like Sharain Snyder, somebody I've never heard of. This fight is set up for Wilder to win, but I haven't paid a lot of attention to the guy he's facing. I don't really know what this guy looks like, but in actuality, can Wilder win this fight? And people gonna say, "What? Can he win the fight?" I mean, like I said, if Wilder's not gonna pull the trigger, and it's just a boxing match, and he's not gonna throw the right hand, what does Wilder bring to the table? What does Wilder have to offer? When you think about it, man, I don't see a lot. You know what I'm saying? Outside of the right hand, and I'm a Wilder fan, man. I love to see Wilder, man, knock people out. I think that right hand in boxing, man, is top 2 or 3 all time of one of the best punches ever. That's just how much I believe in Wilder's right hand. But once Wilder's not throwing that right hand, or the right hand can't land anymore, it becomes a problem. Because at 6'7", you know what I'm saying, there's not a great jab there. You know what I'm saying? Wilder doesn't cut off the ring well. He doesn't have great movement. There's a lot of things missing from Wilder's game when you take away that right hand. And I'm just hoping that Wilder decides, man, hey, I'm going to pull the trigger now. I'm going to go back to letting the right hand go. He got to detonate that bomb, folks. If he's not detonating that bomb, then what is he in there for? And I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, Wilder say he got soft. He's not the same fighter anymore. Then what's going on, Deontay Wilder? What's the reason for still fighting? You've made plenty of money. Turkey Al-Sheikh paid you some big bags when you went over there and took those losses. I know you don't need the money. From what I heard, your business is in order. I heard you own a bunch of rental properties as far as stuff you rent out, homes and stuff like that down there where you at, man. I don't know what you're still doing it for. Like I said, sometimes it's hard for people to walk away from the sport of boxing. And I can understand that, man. Nobody wants to be called old. Nobody wants to walk away from something they love. But sometimes, man, people got to say somebody got to tell you the truth. And when you got a bunch of yes men around you, they're never going to tell you that. Like I said, Wilder, he only does interviews most of the time with people he's comfortable with, that he considers friends. And as them being friends, they're not going to tell Deontay Wilder the truth. They're not going to ask the tough questions. It's basically, when I listen to Wilder do interviews, it's basically Wilder talking and everybody listening and not really asking any questions. Not the hard questions. It's always champ, hey, champ, what's good, Mr. Thomas? What you say with this? Man, appreciate you, bro. You always stop doing show love. And I'm gonna do it and do it and do it, and I'm gonna keep on doing it no matter how it look or what it do. It's gonna come off the ground one of these days. They're gonna let me out this shadow world that they got me in right now. YouTube been having me shadow banned for a long time. You know what I'm saying? So whenever they decide to let me back out into the YouTube streets, it's gonna work out. You know what I'm saying? You say that's why you hear to tell Jim the actual facts. You already know it. Like I said, Mr. Hill, a lot of people don't want to, when you hear Wilder do these interviews and stuff, when I listen to Wilder talk, you know what I'm saying, they don't ask the tough questions. Wilder's friend with these guys. They play golf with him. They go to his house. They hang out. So you think in actuality somebody's going to ask Wilder a tough question on their channel? No, because they're scared to lose their friendship. You said I call that giving them the factuality of things. Better believe it. And like I said, if Wilder's not willing to pull that right hand, that trigger no more, then when you take Wilder, if you take away that right hand and you say, what it does his boxing skills look like? They're average at best. You take away the right hand, and what I mean by that, I'm saying if he didn't have the power that he has, that God-given power, and you put Wilder in a boxing ring, most of us would say what? I'm gonna tell you the truth. He's a cab driver, which I would be saying. If Wilder didn't have that type of power he has, I can hear it now, man. That dude ain't no but a cab driver. He's a journeyman at best. This is how people would be talking. But God gave that man something special, man, and he's been using it for a long time. And he got to get back to it. If Wilder doesn't let the right hand go, there's no reason to be out there anymore. And I don't want to put it on Malik Scott anymore. I've said a million times that Malik Scott was the problem, them being friends and trying to train Wilder. But if you think about it, Wilder probably did need to work on his footwork. Malik Scott was a smaller heavyweight. He could move around the ring. But at the same time, Wilder needed to learn how to cut the ring off more than he did actually know how to move around. Wilder's never moved around a lot. He's kind of, you think about it, a flat-footed fighter. But like I said, he was able to do what he needed to do. You go back to Wilder fights, Wilder lost a lot of those rounds early, and he was always looking for that one punch. And it worked for a long time. But one day, like it always happens, that one punch is not going to, get you out of a situation. And that's why I say when people hate on Tank, Tank is more than just one punch or one shot or just a power puncher. Because at the end of the day, we've seen Tank, now go the distance in a tough fight with Lamont Roach. We've seen Tank in the Pitbull fight, go the distance. And there's more to Tank than just having a strong punch. And with Wilder, I wish he would have took I think when Lennox Lewis was trying to work with Deontay Wilder, it was like Deontay Wilder didn't want to be receptive. Deontay Wilder was standoffish. And I've heard different people that said that there have been heavyweights that try to work with Deontay Wilder. And Deontay Wilder didn't really want to work with those type of guys because he didn't want to be criticized. If you can't be criticized, you're definitely not gonna make it far in anything you do. You'll never be the greatest if in anything. If people can't tell you, or you one of those people that can't take constructive criticism. And I heard that Lennox Lewis wanted to work with Deontay Wilder. I heard that Mike Tyson was even willing. Different people behind the scenes, but it was always they said that Wilder was, really didn't want that help. You know what I'm saying? Or he looked at them like, hey, well, you can't do nothing for me. And I hope that's not true. You know what I'm saying? Now, like I said, I seen a video of Lennox Lewis out there working with Deontay Wilder, and you seen Wilder, as Lennox Lewis for trying to teach him how to throw that jab out there, because we know Lennox Lewis had a mean jab. And, Wilder, from whatever reason, him and Lennox Lewis, from what I heard, and Lennox Lewis said, that was the only time that Lennox Lewis ever got to work with Wilder. I wish Wilder would have took it, a little more. I'm not gonna say he didn't take his sport of boxing seriously, but I wish he would have been willing and more whatever you want to say, more willing to work with others. You know what I'm saying? Especially the all-time greats. Cause man, Lennox Lewis was one of my favorite fighters ever. I tell people all the time, I don't care how nobody feel about Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis is one of my favorite heavyweights. I think he's one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. And that would have been great for Wilder, being that Lennox Lewis is a tall fighter, just learning from him and being able to pick up those jewels, man. And now you see what happened. It was like the Roy Jones thing, where Roy Jones, great fighter, could do it all in the ring. And once Roy Jones' athletic ability started to, leave him, Roy started to look average. He wasn't the same fighter. That God-given gift, was starting to deteriorate or decline. And we seen what happened, man, to Roy Jones. He was never the same. And I hate that. And I think what's going on with Wilder now is either, I don't know, it's like the right hand, because they say power is the last thing to go. But for some reason, with him, I'm trying to think of that Joseph Parker fight. I'm going back in my mind. And I recall it was like Wilder was a different person. I don't know who Wilder was. He didn't even seem the same. Even against Zhilei Zhang, it was like Wilder turned into somebody different, somebody we had never seen before. And, it happens, you know what I'm saying, as people get older. But Wilder keeps saying he's going to let the right hand go. He said in this fight right here, he's coming out here to prove something. He's coming to prove people wrong. Don't worry about proving nothing to the people. Prove it to yourself. People are going to say whatever they want to say. I've learned that over the years. People are going to say whatever they going to say. Don't do nothing for them. Do it for yourself. Do it for you. Everything that Wilder does from now on, you know what I'm saying, let him do it for himself. Because people go, no matter what you do, people going to always judge. They're going to always criticize. They're going to always have something to say. And it might be something you don't want to hear or something you don't like. So I'm wishing Wilder nothing but the best. But like I said, I believe that Wilder could have went anywhere in the world. And BLK Prime should have been his last stop. And I truly mean that. I don't know what BLK Prime can do to get that company and make it better. They need a lot of work. They have a lot of things they need to work on. But the company looks terrible. You know what I'm saying? The way their promotion, everything about BLK Prime, it just doesn't work for me. You know what I'm saying? I watched the Greg Hackett and Brian Norman fight on there, and I'm telling you right now, that right there, I could have put people out back behind my yard and just threw some sticks up and made a ring, and it would have looked better than that. I had never seen nothing like that. I'm still shocked. I thought the lights was off. I thought they had forgot to pay the light bill. Just how bad of a promotion BLK Prime was. You know what I'm saying? It was that bad. But it's okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about what's okay. Wilder don't have to be there. I would have rather Wilder take his own money. He probably could have took $1 million and got more out of that million than what BLK Prime is going to put forward. Now, I don't know if Blue Blood Sports is still with them. I would like to ask him, you know what I'm saying, hey, what's going on with BLK Prime? Are y'all, why is their promotion so bad? But you can't do promotion like that. You can't be talking about, you know what I'm saying, the new era of boxing, the new this of boxing, and it looks like that. I'm trying to think of something. What's the other one over there? What's it called? Triller? Triller was way better than that. I give them credit. They done better than that, man. Like, it's that bad. BLK Prime is that bad, man. I've never seen nothing like that. And, you know, for a while to be going over there, it almost like a desperate move. But maybe, you know, Turkey or somebody told him, hey, man, I can't put you back on no more cards right now. You know, you ain't look good. You lost 4 out of your last 5. You need to go build your name back up and then come back to me. Because Turkey has said if Wilder, you know, he wants to still see the Wilder and Joshua fight. And like I said, that Wilder and Joshua fight, to me, I'm not too keen on it anymore. I don't care about it like I used to. That fight is 10 years past due. I don't know, egos and everything got in the way. But Deontay Wilder and him they should have fought. They should have fought. I don't know why they didn't, you know what I'm saying? But I wish they would have fought 10 years ago. Then we would have found out, you know what I'm saying, who truly was the best. Right now, it seems like Anthony Joshua still ain't made his mind up. He's talking about, you know, rematching Daniel Dubois. And I believe, what's good, man? What you doing? C to the D to the K, Market Dan. What's good, my brother? I'm over here by myself, but I'm still talking. I'm going to keep on talking. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to put the work in. I found out anyway, even when people don't watch it now, I still end up with 50 and 60 or something like that for you. They end up watching it later. So I'm going to keep doing my thing. You coming on in? Yeah. The door's great. Okay. Yeah, so, you know, at the end of the day, Market, then I'm talking about Deontay Wilder and BLK Prime. And BLK Prime being like the bottom of the barrel, man. It's the last stop. It's like, you know, like I said, I remember us talking about it, man. We watched that fight. It felt like them people, man, you could have put a ring in your backyard and got a better promotion. I never seen nothing like that. It looked like the lights were out, the light bill had been paid. It was a terrible situation, you know what I'm saying? And for Deontay Wilder, a person that I know don't need the money, a person that's probably made well over $120 million. Okay, thank you, Market, and I appreciate that. A person that's made over $100 million and just made $30 or $40 million in his last fight. Why is he going to BLK Prime to fight? My old lady talked about that channel. She was ready to cancel it right after the fight. It's the worst thing we ever seen. You know what I'm saying? It was the worst thing we had ever seen. And I don't want to see any more fights on BLK Prime. But I'm going to support anything that Deontay Wilder does, you know what I'm saying? And it's just simple as that. I'm going to support what they do. I'm not mad about it, you know what I'm saying? Wilder deserves the support. You know what I'm saying? And for anybody, you know what I'm saying, that Rocco Wilder, keep on supporting that man. But at the same time, if you're a Wilder fan or you're a Wilder friend of Wilder, I'm talking about a real friend, because you got those guys that are real friends of Wilder. I can think that they're friends like shout out to Drew Titan, 78 Sports TV. Those guys are friends with Wilder. You know what I'm saying? And I know they respect them, and they hang out with them. And I know that it's hard to ask him the tough questions, because it would be hard for me. No, I ain't gonna tell that lie. I'm built like that. If it's my brother, I'm gonna tell him the truth. I'm gonna ask the questions that need to be asked. It's gonna be respectful, but I'm also gonna tell him when I feel like it's time to hang the gloves up. If it was my brother, that's how you got to look at it. If you love someone, or if you're a friend with someone or close to someone, you don't want to see them get hurt. You want to make sure that they really still have everything it takes to get in there. And right now with Deontay Wilder, I don't know if he still has what it takes. We know he's fighting somebody that he should beat. But like I've said, if the right hand is not there and you take a look at Deontay Wilder, what do you really see? What do you see when you look at Deontay Wilder without the right hand? I see maybe somebody, like I said, an average fighter. I think Deontay Wilder's always been an average fighter. But he got one thing, one of the greatest right hands in the history of boxing. And that's what the difference has been. And we know one thing about boxing and heavyweights, man. Everybody's going to land a shot. Everybody's going to land a shot. And Deontay Wilder's been landing that shot for years. But lately, the last 4 out of 5, that shot ain't been able to land. And, it's like Deontay Wilder never threw a bunch of punches around anyway, so he never needed to throw a bunch of punches. But it's like right now, the right hand's like he just took it, cut it off, or put it in the book bag and said, well, I'm not even going to throw it no more. I don't care. I don't want it to land no more. I don't know what's going on. And like I said, man, Deontay Wilder himself said that he's gotten kind of, you said BLK got the fight in Wichita, Kansas. Yeah, it's in Wichita, Kansas. I checked all that out, Marcus. Definitely in Wichita, Kansas on June 27th. You know what I'm saying? He's fighting Tyrell Herndon or something like that. I want to say his name right. 24 wins, 5 losses, 15 KOs. And out of those 5 losses, he was knocked out 4 times. I went back and done a background check on him, see what his notable losses was, who he faced. He faced Richard Torres Jr., you know what I'm saying? Which we know is a loss. He lost that fight. He had another fight with Efe Ajagba. As far as the names that we know, you know what I'm saying? He lost both of those fights. But, those are the only 2 big name opponents that I've seen. So basically, I guess you can say that he's been a journeyman. And this is a fight designed, for Wilder to win. Because I think what it sets up is Turkey definitely wants to see, you know what I'm saying? 1 second. Let me pull my guy up. Like I'm saying, Marcus, Dan, Turkey wants to see Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder for some reason still. And all respect due to Deontay Wilder. He's been a phenomenal ambassador for the sport of boxing. I have nothing bad to say about Wilder. I just feel like that a lot of people need to ask him, is his mind still with boxing, or is it so far gone now when you get a certain place in life that you don't need to be getting in the ring anymore? You're playing. What do you think?
Well, I think and salute CDK. Thanks for bringing me up, bro. I think it's a multitude of things. I think part of it is one Malik Scott. Like I just think Malik Scott is a goofy ass nigga, and I think he's a goofy ass trainer. He got
Let's
this
not
nigga
use.
doing.
Let's try not to use the nigga the N word, bro, on stage.
Oh, my bad, my bad. So okay, I apologize. So can I not curse at all, or is it just
No,
that
I
specific?
mean, I don't mind the cursing too much, but I try not to use the N word. I just don't try to use
I
it too much.
Oh, okay, absolutely respect to you, city guy, respect. Uh, but Malik Scott got him doing goofy stuff inside the ring. You see this man doing spins, and then when he get in the ring, he actually spun around and fell down. I mean, it was just sad to watch. On top of the fact, I don't even think the right hand is necessarily gone. I just think he's not being trained to throw the right hand like how he used to.
Right.
Malik Scott got him fighting like he's a boxer. He got him moving around. That's not how Wilder sets his feet for that punch. He's a front foot fighter. He's a front foot puncher. And listen, if you want to give credit to Malik Scott for that third Fury fight, okay, whatever. I just give more credit to Wilder for
Yeah.
having guts and will. I don't give credit to that nigga Malik. Oh goddamn, my bad, CK. I don't give credit to Malik Scott at all for that. I think he's a terrible trainer. We went in there. He actually even fought Wilder, and he took a dive against the man.
Yeah,
I mean that's just terrible. That's nasty work.
yeah, it
So
is. It is.
I think maybe if Wilder wants to get back in there with AJ, I think he got to get rid of Malik Scott. Um,
Yeah,
I
I agree with that. I think he needs to get rid of Malik Scott, but I think they're better friends than they are trainer and fighter. I don't see that as being a good combination. I think Malik Scott, because he's a smaller heavyweight, he tried to implement a lot of those things with Deontay Wilder, and it shouldn't work. Wilder needed somebody like a Lennox Lewis or somebody to get on his team and to show him technique, how a bigger fighter should move and stuff. I think that would have been a better match. And Lennox Lewis did try to work with Wilder, but he said that Wilder was kind of standoffish. You know what I'm saying? What do you think about that?
I think part of that is Wilder. Part of it is I think he's very arrogant because he had so much success very fast.
Yep.
Because what was it? I think he was 23 years old. He was a college student or something like that, and he was driving a FedEx truck or a beer truck, and then he
Yeah.
just started boxing. And 20 or 17 amateur fights later, he's in the Olympics, and wins a bronze medal. So
Man, you know what that tells me though,
and then
Marky Dean? That
what?
tells me how far the heavyweight division has fallen off.
No,
There's no way possible he could have done that in the prime Lennox Lewis and Tyson and all them. He couldn't have done that. You know what I'm
that's
saying?
that's not true because we had George Foreman do it in 24 fights.
Well, I'm talking
So
about with George Foreman.
you just had but my point, CDK, you just had phenoms like that sometimes.
Yeah, but
You
I'm
just
saying
had
when you look at George Foreman, you could actually see a skill set. I could
I
see.
get you.
You see what I'm saying? Like when I look at George Foreman, I see a skill set. I see a guy that was really talented, a phenom. He
But you
came through, and you see what I'm saying? I think George Foreman had more skills than Deontay Wilder, in my personal opinion. You know what I'm saying? And just in my personal opinion on that. Wilder,
I
to me, if you take away the right hand, let me say that right quick. He just take the right hand out of the equation. People probably be calling Wilder a cab driver.
I mean probably, yeah. I mean that's his one trick pony, but hey, it's it's a hell of a one trick. But let me say this. I'm just saying you said that the rest of the heavyweights have degraded, and I mean yeah, you could say that it's not the best era, but yeah, yeah, okay. I can't even disagree with you. Because George Foreman,
Yeah,
he had to fight the Yugoslavians. He had
yeah,
to fight the Russian in the gold medal match.
yeah.
Yeah, he had to go through some folks.
George was
Yeah.
different. What's good? What's good, free?
What's good? What's good?
Really
You know, we're
old.
talking about the BLK Prime and Wilder, and I don't know if you got to hear some of the stuff we've been saying, but I basically was breaking down the fact that, I was talking about Wilder just a minute ago, Malik Scott, as me and Marky Dan was saying, and Lennox Lewis tried to work with Deontay Wilder, and he said that Wilder was real standoffish, so it never happened. And I believe that would have been a great situation for Wilder. What do you think about that?
Um, I mean, I don't know. I mean, once a guy gets to a certain age, they set in their ways.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to change a guy that's been doing things a certain way for a long time. That's the problem with a lot of these fighters when they're changing
Mm-hmm.
trainers and stuff like that. That's why it usually doesn't pan out the way they expect it to, in a way that a lot of us fans think that it would, because we know that the trainer is good, but it usually doesn't pan out because these guys are so used to fighting a certain way, especially if they only had one trainer their entire career, then all of a sudden they change to another trainer and he's trying to teach them something new. Yeah, he might start off that way, but he's going to go back to what he's familiar with. That's the same thing like if Canelo Alvarez was to get with Buddy McGirt or Freddie Roach or somebody like that, and they trying to show him how to use his feet. He might use his feet for about a good minute or two, and then he's going to go back to what he normally used to doing because that's what he's been doing his entire career. So it's kind of hard to change guys when they get to a certain age or when they get to a certain level in their career because they're so used to doing it one way. It really very seldom does it pan out the way that they expect it to and that the fans expect it to when they see them get with a certain trainer.
Yeah, you're right. But let me ask you a question, though, Freeze. Did you say that?
Yo.
Because first, Wilder and Lennox Lewis, this was early in his career before Malik Scott came along that he said he tried to work with him. And two, why didn't Wilder go back to what he know? It seemed like to me when he fought Zenith Thing, he was trying to be a dancer and doing what Malik Scott trained him to do, and it didn't pan out. Why didn't he resort back to that?
Respectfully, CDK, how early in Wilder's career? Because I remember
Oh,
like
it
a
was
video
right
of
into the-
him,
No, it was like
being
into
like
the-
like some Sunday clothes with Lennox Lewis in a picture.
Yeah, I'm talking about, but even before then, Lennox Lewis said he tried to work with Wilder a few times from what I heard, and it just didn't pan out. Like Lennox Lewis has tried to work even with Anthony Joshua. Lennox Lewis, one thing he said about the younger fighters, he feel like they're arrogant and they don't want to listen. Now that's his words, not mine. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
But AJ took, and part of me understands where AJ is coming from, but I do feel like AJ was a little bit soft and weak in his response to it. But
Yeah.
I think AJ feel like Lennox Lewis talk a lot, like he says a lot of stuff to the media instead of talks to them directly. But
right,
I mean
I can
that's
agree with
Lennox
that.
Lewis. He got what Shaq say G14 classification. He can say whatever the hell he wants. Like
Yeah,
for real.
yeah.
I just think that's weak.
With Lennox Lewis, I don't know if it's really much that Lennox Lewis can show Deontay Wilder because they fought a similar style. So I don't know if it's really
Right.
I don't know if it's really much that he could have showed Deontay Wilder because he already had Mark Breland, who was teaching him how to be who he was. So now maybe Anthony Joshua would have learned more from Lennox Lewis. I don't know if Deontay Wilder would have learned that much more. I mean, it'd probably be some little trick here and there that Lennox Lewis could have shown him.
Maybe he could teach us some traps.
I don't know if it's really much that Lennox Lewis could have showed him because they already fight a similar style.
But respectfully, I think, man, it would be hard for me to imagine nobody being able to learn from Lennox Lewis just for the brilliant boxing mind that he was. But I know what you're saying. They do have a similar style. You're exactly right about that, Free. But I do think, like Marky Dan was saying, there are traps and a few things that he could have showed him that I think would have worked out great for Deontay Wilder. But you're right, they do have a similar style. They do kind of fight a lot. But you can see, like, when he was showing him like the little thing in the church clothes, where Wilder was throwing his jab, just it was different things that he was trying to that he could show him where to throw the jab from. It was a few things I believe he could have showed him how to cut the ring off better as a big man. Those things like that.
And Malik Scott said that. He said that Deontay Wilder has his moments where he want to do things the way he want to do it.
Yeah.
And Malik Scott said, no, he has to put his foot down and let him know, look, I'm here to train you. You're going to do it the way I want to do it, or we're going to be here all night arguing back and forth. So he has those moments, and that's probably with a lot of guys when they get to a certain level, they feel like, why are you trying to tell me how to do it like this when I've been doing it this way and I've been winning all this time? So I don't really know. I don't know how much to take from what Lennox Lewis saying because, like I said, I don't know how much he could have learned from Lennox Lewis because they already fight a similar style. I don't know what Lennox Lewis was trying to show him. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there, so I don't know.
I know one thing Lewis done. Lewis threw a whole lot more punches than Wilder, I would say, during the rounds. He let his hands go a little more than Wilder. Wilder had a low punch output in his fights when you ever paid attention. It seemed like his punch output was always low. Like he lingered on the jab a lot. Like Lennox Lewis had one of them crisp jabs when he came out.
Yeah, one of
he
the
could hurt you with his
jabs for a big heavyweight I've ever seen.
Yeah, but see,
that would have been dangerous.
The punch output, I don't know if you can change that in somebody. Because whenever they feel comfortable with throwing shots, they're going to throw shots. If they don't feel comfortable throwing shots, they're not going to throw them. It's the same thing like trying to make Shakur Stevenson a higher punch output. Shakur Stevenson would throw punches when he feels comfortable. If he feel like he needs to be defensive, he's going to be defensive. So I don't know if you can change somebody in that. You probably can. I'm not going to say that you can't.
Yeah.
I just don't know how much can you change a person on their punch output, because it's all about how comfortable they feel in the ring. If a person is being more offensive and they feel like they need to be more defensive so they don't get caught with a shot, they're not going to throw a lot of shots because they don't want to get caught. So I don't know how much you can change that. It's more off of comfortability, because we saw Tank Davis in the Lamont Roach fight. That's the first time we ever seen Tank Davis put out as many punches he did in the earlier rounds. He normally don't put that many punches out like that in the earlier rounds, but he felt comfortable with Lamont Roach to put out more punches, so he did. So it's all about being comfortable in the ring.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the first time I think about Tank kind of doing that is when he fought Roach, like you said. I think he done it a little bit against Hector Garcia and a little bit against Santa Cruz with the output. Those are three fights that come to mind when I think about it. Most of his fights is just like you said, low output. But I believe Tank is one of those guys. You see the IQ, like you got to know when. I think that's something that Lennox Lewis probably could have worked on with Wilder, with like knowing when to let your hands go a little more. You know, because like you said, necessarily most people, that's a hard thing to pick up, make somebody let go, throw more punches. It's definitely a hard trait to teach. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, I don't know if they can do it or not, but you got to know when to do it. That's how I would look at it. Know when to let your hands go a little more. And Wilder, like I said, with the Margaret Day was saying, man, Lennox Lewis had a nasty jab. I would have loved for Wilder to have took that jab and implemented it into his game plan.
Yeah,
that would have been dangerous.
That's probably something that he could have helped Wilder with changing up his jab, not just using it as a rangefinder, but using it as a stiff jab, using it as a lead hand and things like that. So he could have showed him how to have variations in the jab. That's something he definitely could have showed him. I don't know if Wilder was willing to learn that or what. I don't know what was going on with Wilder at that time, why Lennox Lewis wasn't able to get to him like that, because I know Wilder does respect Lennox Lewis. He said it multiple times before. So I don't know what it was.
Me either. And go ahead, Mark.
He also do got that he also do, or I'm not, or I was about to mention Wilder does have like that tension with Tyson, but I don't think you could compare those situations, because I don't know, because like Wilder was responding to people saying that Tyson would knock him out of something, and then he just went in on Tyson's record and saying he only fought 2 Hall of Famers, but then it's like you only got Tyson Fury, Wilder. So
we know.
Even talk.
I can see how I can picture that fight of prime Mike Tyson and the prime Wilder, what would have took place.
Man,
you know what I'm saying?
He'd go to bed.
Yeah. I agree 100% with you. I don't think it would have went past 3-4 rounds, not with a prime 19, 20-year-old Mike Tyson. No disrespect to Deontay Wilder, but I think, I hate that he did do that. Yeah, I hate that he done that, man. I hate that he went in on Mike Tyson like that. I don't know. Now, that would have been an odd coaching. Like, I don't know what Mike Tyson could have taught him. That would have been kind of crazy right there. Mike Tyson knows a lot about the square circle.
I don't know. I mean, Mike Francis Ngannou, a lot of people thought he beat Tyson Fury.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I'm saying? If he had got the decision, Mike Tyson was his corner man. That'd have been like, they'd have made a 30 for 30 about that.
Yeah, I seen it. I'm talking about, I'm just trying to imagine in my mind what Tyson had showed him. I mean, Tyson knows plenty of stuff about boxing. Ain't no ifs, ain't buts about it. He's a great man when it comes to boxing. So it's possible. But man, it's just like Roy Jones. Sometimes I feel like Roy Jones has problems training people because he wants them to almost be him. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to be what Roy Jones was. Yeah. Definitely hard to be him. I think Eubank does Roy Jones and Eubank had a pretty good chemistry. But you see how when Chris Eubank went over with Bo Mack, to me, he looked a lot better.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? It was a difference. Bo Mack, man, whatever it is, Bo Mack was able to get through to Chris Eubank a lot more. And I think it's going to help him in his fight with Conor Benn. Even though I ain't no Conor Benn fan, I must say that. I ain't no fan of Conor Benn. And I'm hoping he's not Conor Benn.
You said Bo Mack is going to be with him in that fight?
I believe, don't quote me on that now. I'm hoping that he is. I think that after that last fight, I think that Bomac's gonna be working with him. Have you heard anything about that free about is Bomac gonna be with him or not?
With who?
I doubt that.
Connor with Chris Eubank in the fight against Connor Ben.
He should be. That was his last trainer that he had.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. That's what I was
No,
thinking.
but you're forgetting Bomac had that situation.
I know, but yeah, I think he got that straight though.
Yeah, I don't know if they're fighting in the UK or not. But
I don't think Bomac was at the press conference.
Well,
Bomac probably wasn't at the press conference because you got to remember Keyshawn had fights coming up and he had other fighters that was fighting. Bomac has a lot of different fighters. He had that card that was on a couple of weeks ago where majority of the guys that was on that card was his fighters.
Yeah.
So it could have been that could have been the reason why he wasn't at the press conference. But like I said, the last time that I remember Chris Eubanks been in a ring, Bomac was his trainer. So I would think Bomac is still his trainer.
Yeah, I would hope so. I'm looking that up now, trying to see.
Yeah, I'm looking it up too.
Yeah, look it up. I'm looking that up because I want to know.
I mean, because he only had two trainers that I know of. And that was Roy Jones and Bomac. I mean, he had somebody before Roy Jones, but it was as of recently, the last probably about 6 fights he had or 7 fights. It was Roy Jones and Bomac, maybe even more fights than that. I don't know how many fights Roy Jones was with him.
Okay, so Chris Eubank trainer Jonathan Banks.
That's his father or brother. No, that's his brother, I think.
No, that ain't his father. No.
No, Jonathan. I think he's a junior. If I'm not
mistaken. He's probably from over there. Banks is that sounds like he's an American. I lie.
Oh no, you said Jonathan Banks. I'm thinking you said Jonathan Eubanks. So that's probably just somebody else that's training him.
He's a former IBO cruiserweight champ. Was an IBF cruiserweight champ challenged for the IBF championship once. So I mean, fought Klitschko.
I mean that might be. Yeah, it very well could be his trainer over in the UK because Bomac is banned for life in Europe.
Yeah,
you say he's banned for life?
Yeah, they banned him for life because of the gun charge.
Yeah, they did. They banned him for life.
They probably banned him in the UK, but not in Europe. Because the UK,
wherever they fighting at in the UK, wherever they fighting at, he's banned for life.
Yeah, he is.
Well, that's his fault.
Yeah, that was stupid. I can't believe Bomac done that boneheaded move right there. But hey, mistakes happen. You know what I'm saying? I ain't judging him. I thought that him and Chris Eubank, they look good together. That was a good mix. He looked like a whole different fighter, man. And I just hope that translates into the fight, even though he has a new trainer. You know what I'm saying? We don't know how it's gonna play out. But let me ask you this, Freak.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you never know. He might come over here, work with Bomac, and then go over there and do some training over there.
Yes, that's possible too. It's definitely possible. I was gonna say, what do you think about BLK Prime as a promotion or whatever you want to call it?
BLK Prime is about as good of a promotional company as Sports Talk Network.
Okay, that answers my question. I see it Tubi. was better.
I mean, man, to be honest with you, we probably could put on a better promotion than they did when they did that one for Brian Norman Sr. and Greg Hatchett. We could probably put on a better production than that. Because I know a few cameramen. I know a few cameramen that's worked with network programming like NBC and CNN and Fox. I know a few guys that work with those TV channels, and I have no problem with calling them up and having them run the cameras for a production that I put on. They've done it before. They worked with me when I did videos for my son. My son was he's doing his little rap videos and stuff like that. They did the video shoot for him. It came out excellent.
Let me say something. I think BLK Prime is only gonna put in as much skin as it's worth. Greg Hackett and Brian Norman Sr., respectfully, Ain't nobody paying no big time money for that fight. Come on, let's be honest.
Ain't
No, I
nobody
They
don't.
paying
put it
no
on
big time
pay-per-view
money
for
for
$6.
the Wilder and this dude. Ain't nobody paying no big time money for that. They fighting
I
in
mean, shoot,
Wichita, Kansas.
people might pay $25. You never know.
No. Let's be honest. When the last time you seen a fight in Wichita, Kansas?
I'm waiting.
Like I think I remember hearing Blood Boxing
Never,
talk about it.
never,
Never. Marky Dan,
never.
what I was gonna say, Marky Dan, you only as good as what people last remember from you. Just like you're only as good as your last fight. Well, in this case, BLK Prime is only as good as their last promotion. And what I remember left a bad taste in my mouth, and there was some BS. So what I'm saying is, no matter what, they could have done a better job than that. Like Free said, my son does rap videos and stuff and does his own like stuff. I could have got him out there with a camera and done a better job than that. You know what I'm saying? Just me, I could. My son,
No.
he said,
I'm gonna tell you like this.
I ain't paying, and I agree.
What happened to BLK Prime is they spent all their money on Bud Crawford. If Bud Crawford did get the $10 million that he said they supposedly gave him, if they did give him that, BLK Prime was only worth $5 million. At the time they had signed Bud Crawford for that $10 million contract, they was only worth $5 million. So they paid him more than what the company was worth.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy work right there. Can you imagine you worth $5 million, but you gotta shell out $10 million? Like, that's ridiculous, man. Who does that? And it was stupid of them. And look what happened.
Why you think Adrian Bona never had a fight? They kept postponing Adrian Bona fight. They was trying to get people out of other contracts because they couldn't pay nobody. They were trying to get anybody to fight Adrian Bona.
Remember, in the beginning, they were saying, "Oh, we got $1 billion." They were saying they had $1 billion from
who?
I don't know, but I remember they were saying that in the beginning.
Yeah, they probably was saying that. The lie to the people, the same way they said that it did over 100 and something pay-per-view buys when they only had 5,000 subscribers. You got to subscribe to BLK Prime to watch anything from BLK Prime. So how you got 100,000 pay-per-view when you only got 5,000 subscribers?
They could have done it on my channel. I got more subscribers than they do. You know what I'm saying? They could have done it.
Right.
If they wanted to do a fight, they
don't even make sense. They were saying, "Oh yeah, that joint did well." How did it do well? It did what? 5,001? Because y'all only had 5,000. You had an extra 100 people subscribe to the channel so it could do 5,100.
Y'all gonna think I'm lying. Y'all gonna think I'm lying when I say this right here, and I cut this camera on and show it to you. As of today, April 2nd, 2025, BLK Prime is worth 5 cents. 5 cents.
No, I can go to BLK Prime right now. Matter of fact, because I still have it in my phone. Because at the time that I had downloaded BLK Prime, Bud Crawford wasn't a part of them. This is when Blue Blood had came out and was like, "Hey, subscribe to BLK Prime. We're about to have some fights put on it." And that's when they had got Brian Norman Jr. Brian Norman Jr. was there first.
I need you to put that on something. Put that on something that you.
Brian Norman Jr. was their first fighter that they ever signed to BLK Prime. He never fought on BLK Prime. He was the very first fighter.
Hey, hold on. Here you go.
BLK Prime Network.
Look, it say the company is worth 146 billion, but that's not BLK Prime. BLK Prime.
Yeah, that's BlackRock.
That's BlackRock. You know what I'm saying? Now BlackRock let them borrow $5 million. You see what I'm saying? They gave them $5 million. Hustling backwards like they did. You know what I'm saying? Like YD said, they took $5 million try to pay $10 million. Where you do that at? No,
do you know they still got?
They were probably trying to. They believed in Bud Crawford. They thought he could do
it. Company. Let me ask you a question. If you worth 146 billion, you gonna have somebody, man. They had Greg Hackett and Brian Norman fighting, man, in somebody's backyard and put a tent over top of it. That's what they did. That's what they did.
No, when you go to BOK Prime Boxing, the first fight you see on there is still Bud Crawford and David Avanesian.
It don't the picture don't even look like Bud. It look like a different person almost. I got hey, Bud look like a different person on that picture. It's like they drew Bud on there. They cut all corners for that. I guess if you get somebody $10 million though, you got to cut every corner you can. You got to get crayons out and everything and draw pictures of people and do everything else. Did they even have a commercial?
No.
Listen, go back. I got BLK Prime on my TV right now still. Why? I don't know. But you can go on there. They got TV shows I've never heard of. Every one of them. I couldn't find a TV show on there. They don't even show reruns of old shows. That's how bad BLK Prime is. I ain't never seen nothing like it, man. They'll be shaming themselves. And, you know, I would tell anybody, what are they paying Deontay Wilder for this fight? Have anybody know what his purse is?
I
That's
don't
a
know.
good question. What is Wilder making for this next fight? Let me see. I would like to know that.
No, I guarantee you ain't no 10 million.
No. Okay, I'm looking now.
They give out another 10 million. BLK Prime is definitely done.
It don't even say. They must have promised Wilder half of the company. They had to. They probably told Deontay Wilder, we'll give you half of the company if you sign. He said even Pro Box runs circles around on BLK Prime. Why they do?
They made him a daggone partner.
They had to, man. I
Look,
would like to know.
We can't give you no money, but we could offer you a partnership.
We'll make you a producer over all these shows we got nobody knows of. That's what they doing.
I'm trying to see. Because the
Yeah,
last time I looked at
Deontay
BLK,
Wilder
I'm trying to
being on
figure
a
out where I
reality
can find
TV
it
show.
at. The last time I saw BLK Prime subscribers, they only had like 5,000 subscribers. God damn.
Yeah.
Dog. In 2021, Amazon Prime had 168.3 million subscribers, and they are slowly growing every year since.
I can believe it.
No, they had 100. That was in 2021. 2024, they got 180.1 million subscribers.
Wilder's getting $4 million for his fight.
I told you wasn't no damn 10.
Yeah, getting $4 million for the fight.
That's a damn shame that daggone Wilder's getting 4 and Bud got 10.
And I think, man,
nobody is messing with Amazon Prime right now. Not daggone DAZN, not ESPN, nobody.
Man, that's crazy. Wilder going to $4 million. Now, what happens if they get Wilder a check? He go to the bank and the check bounce. I got a feeling the check gonna bounce.
Hey,
boy, that'd be
Blue Blood got some explaining to do, bro.
Yeah,
Blue Blood is not even part of BLK Prime anymore. When the last time you heard Blue Blood talk about BLK Prime? He ain't part of them no more.
No, and guess what I heard though? And this is true. What I heard behind the scenes, he bought his little piece for $20,000, bro.
He bought what?
Into the company for $20,000. Now, if he done that really, if that's true, and you can get 50% ownership, I would have bought in. That's it.
I don't know if he bought in or not. But from what I've been hearing,
I mean, he was a owner. I mean, excuse me, he was
partner.
He was a partner.
Mm-hmm.
That's like what I am with my company. I'm a partner with my company, but the thing is, I get paid every month from my company on my partner share. I get a regular salary paycheck, and then every month I get a partner share of the gross income that we brought in every single month. BOK Prime, I don't know if they're bringing in any. I mean, I'm quite sure they're bringing in some type of income. I just don't know how much it is because their subscription is only $3.99.
$3.99. Lord have mercy. $3.99.
And I mean, the only time we hear them putting on fights was Bud Crawford, Brian Norman Sr., and now Wilder.
Now, hey man,
they put on other little fights here and there, but it wasn't nothing major.
Let me say this right here, because I like to be real, and y'all know me, I'm gonna speak my mind. I've seen Brian Norman Sr. I've seen him twice on Mill City Boxing already since the fight. That's one thing. You know what I'm saying? I wish he would have came back through and stopped by on BVO channel, my channel, whatever. People to show him real love, authentic. You know what I'm saying? After the fight, but that's neither here nor there. Just how I feel, my personal opinion on that. But now, all of a sudden, I'm gonna tell you something. People can say what they want to say about what Greg Hackett told me on my channel. He said that they don't want to fight for real. They're just playing. They don't want to fight Boots. Now, this came out of Greg Hackett's mouth now. I'm going somewhere with this. Y'all let me get to it. Now, all of a sudden, because the people went in, I go straight to the comments and see what people got to say. And I went to Mill City comments, and the people were going in. I don't know if Senior's saying it, but they were like, everything Greg said make him seem like a prophet. That's what they were saying in the comments now. Not me. But they're saying this fight with the Japanese kid would actually be, they would make more money as a more intriguing fight than fighting Boots. Anybody want to comment?
I mean, I don't think so. Unless that kid is a monster anyway type of fighter, or I mean, Nakatani's not even getting. I mean, Brian Norman, according to Brian Norman Sr., it got as high as 1.7 million from Eddie Hearn. I don't think Junto Nakatani is even making $1.7 million.
He's not.
Yeah, so I don't. I mean, like a hope and a dream. I mean, T.O. and T.O. Senior said they have J-Lo, and they could get it done. So I mean, let them hope and dream, man. They in their championship color stage.
No, do you see what I'm saying, Marky Dan? That Greg Hackett made a statement that people thought was crazy when he said they really don't want to fight Boots, and it's gonna be somebody else in the way, or something else, another opponent, and it's making Greg Hackett almost seem like.
Greg Hackett said that, not Brian Norman Sr.
No, Greg Hackett came out and said off the top that they was not gonna fight Boots. They're just talking. They don't want to fight. Now, they just done an interview on Mill City with Brian Norman Sr. I caught some of that. I support Brian Norman Sr. I support anybody that, supports me. And it was said from him, basically, that, Brian Norman Dad Sr. said that, hey, this fight looks more intriguing, or they can make more money off of that fight than fighting Boots. So people are starting to say that Greg Hackett was right.
Hey.
He said, why D said that's possible? And I don't want to say I know what, Senior, and I like Senior, and, but it's my job, to keep it real and be real and say what I'm seeing. We don't want to see no other fight but Boots and Brian Norman Jr. I don't want to see Brian Norman Jr. in the ring with nobody else. If Boots take care of, Norman is right. If Boots take care of business, I want to see him and Brian Norman. He can't be right, H-Pro. They offered him $1.7 million, Eddie Hearn did, and this came from Senior himself, told me this directly. He's not going to make $1.7 million for fighting some kid that nobody knows. He's not. No way, no how. Now, I would be lying. I mean, if I had, Brian Norman told me this personally. This ain't me talking about I heard him from somebody else. Brian Norman told me that they offered him $1.7 million. No, he's not, because you don't know the kid, and I don't know the kid. And I know I studied boxing, and I don't know nothing about that kid that came up there on that stage and asked for a fight. I would not lie. Whether I'm a fan of Boots or a fan of Brian Norman, I know nobody's gonna put up that type of money to see Brian Norman Jr. go over to Japan and fight somebody nobody knows. They're not gonna do that. Whether you like a fighter or not, sometimes you got to keep it real and give the truth. And I like Brian Norman and I like Boots. I like both of them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you watched the same live I did? You talking about the one I was in? No, I'm talking about did you watch the live I was in? You know what I'm saying? I was in the live with Brian Norman Sr. I've talked to Senior. Senior said out his own mouth that he was offered $1.7 million. This ain't nothing I heard. This is what he told me, and everybody was on stage or was in the thing. So 1.7 million, that's a different ballpark. And you know, when you go from making 150,000 a fight, 200,000 a fight to 1.7 million, yeah, I don't care about the promoter. You know, that's great, fine and dandy. But the thing is, there's a lot of promoters out here with money. But which one of them promoters got more money than Turkey? Because that's who's gonna foot the bill for Boots. If you can't name one of them, it doesn't matter who the promoter is. And I don't think that Turkey would put up 1.7 million for Brian Norman to fight this guy over here. But I can guarantee you Turkey will put up 2 million for Boots and for Brian Norman to fight Boots. That's a guarantee. Market Dan, you there? I don't think. What happened? You know what I'm saying? That's a guarantee. And the thing is, what fight do y'all want to see? As boxing fans, what fight do you really want to see? Do you want to see Brian Norman Jr. go fight somebody that we don't know too much about, or do you want to see him and Boots in a unification fight? It just I just want to see something interesting. And a unification fight between those two guys means more to me than him taking the fight over there in Japan or something like that, or that guy from Japan coming over here. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to him, but we've been waiting on this fight for a minute. We've heard all the chatter. We've heard all the talk. There's a lot of hype behind that fight, and that's what people want to see. And as fans, I can guarantee you the fans would rather see that fight. Marky Dan. I don't know what happened to everybody. It seemed like everybody jumped out. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I'm saying, A-Pro. I want to see what the fans want to see. And everybody I talk to wants to see Brian Norman and Boots and see how it plays out, see what happens. You know what I'm saying? You know, who do you got winning that fight between Brian Norman and Boots if it happens? And I definitely want to see it. I think both of those guys are tremendous talents. I think it will be a great fight. You know what I'm saying? I just want to sit back and wait on it. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully the fight happens. But we need to get that fight, and we need to get it soon. Well, they did try to pay him. Once again, you know what I'm saying? Brian Norman, let me ask you a question. I don't know what type of money you're dealing with. But if you making $100,000 and I offer you 1.7 million, and you made 100,000 in your last fight, what does that sound like to you? And we being honest here now. We ain't just going with whether you like Boots or not. I just want you to give me an honest assessment of what I just said. If you made $100,000 last time and I offer you 1.7 million this time, is that not paying you? When you can't get 1.7 million fighting nobody else but me. Like, I'm always gonna keep it real. Like I said, I like Brian Norman, but the truth is the truth. They turned down that 1.7 for whatever reason. I talked to Brian Norman behind the scenes too, so I know kind of what they want, and it's not too far off. It's definitely not. They right there, and I believe that 2 million would definitely get the fight done, and I believe that Brian Norman Jr. will be able to get that 2 million. I think it's gonna happen. I think they're gonna get what they want. Brian Norman's goal, his senior goal, is to make his son a millionaire, and he don't want his son to bring home anything less than $1 million when he fight Boots. And then I think that's definitely very doable, and it should be done. You know what I'm saying? It should be done. I don't know why it wouldn't. What's good, Mr. Smith?
What's going on with you, fam? How you doing?
I'm doing okay, brother. I'm blessed, highly favored. I can't complain.
All right. Didn't Norman say they didn't give him what he wanted?
Well, he said,
then he said the next person they fought, they wound up offering that person that more. You know what I mean? So it's like they tried to cheat him, but then offer the next guy more money. And
this is what they basing it off of. Let me tell you what they basing it off of. You make $100,000 in your one fight, right? Okay. I come back, I offer you 750,000. You've never made more than 100 and some thousand in a fight. So Eddie, they were basing it off what he actually made in his fight before that. You see what I'm saying? Now,
No, that don't work like that. I
no,
mean,
I'm saying no. That's in boxing
because you
though.
could let's look at
Hold
other
on, hold on.
fights.
Listen to me for a minute. In boxing, it does work like that. It don't seem fair, but that's how they base a lot of their fights. I'm telling you what I know. That's how they base their fights. A lot of times when they paying you, they gonna pay you off putting butts in seats, what you've been making, what they feel is market value, and all of that. Now, I say like this, and this is what I say all the time. You know what you worth. Don't never take no less than what you feel like you worth. That's me personally. You see what I'm saying? I'm not gonna take no less than I want. If I feel like the fight is worth it, I feel like I should get $1 million, I should get $1 million. And they felt like, hey man, we're close to that number. They're a little off. But there was other things, like I said, I've talked to Brian Norman personally, not just on live, but behind the scenes where we got more in-depth and things that I won't say that he told me. But I do know this right here. Their number is not off, so it's not an issue. They're gonna fight if everything goes as planned and Boots take care of business. So the money was not really a big issue as people think. There was other things going on. The 1.7 million was not an issue really with him. You understand what I'm saying? They didn't have a problem. They didn't have a problem with the 1.7. What I'm telling you, I know for a fact. They had, you know what I'm saying, it's a little bit of other things. Philadelphia, going to Philadelphia, fighting in his hometown. You understand what I'm saying? Like, let's do this somewhere else on neutral ground. Things that make sense. Things that agree.
Why they didn't do it on?
Why
they didn't do it on neutral ground then? If that was the only thing stopping, if that was the only thing stopping the fight, why didn't they do it on neutral ground?
Well,
the only thing stopping them from getting the bill was neutral ground. It wasn't money no more. We got that way. So it wasn't the money. It wasn't money. We got that part out the way. It was neutral ground. Why wouldn't they take that offer and go fight them on neutral ground, which is fair?
No, it's fair. But let me tell you what the promoters looking at. Not what we looking at, because I agree with you on that part. What they're looking at is Boots' last 2 fights at home, right? Sold out. Brian Norman's not a big name, and Boots is just a decent name. So where can we do it at to make sure that we are able to recop our money and then make some? Because it's all about making $1. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. So that's what they were looking at. But if I'm Brian Norman Jr., I say no, I don't want to fight. I'm not gonna come to Philadelphia unless you give me $2 million. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what he was saying. Like if I'm gonna come to Philly, you're gonna have to add a little bit more to that for me to come to Philadelphia.
Okay.
And that's what the problem was. Main problem was, you know what I'm saying, hey, coming to Philly and fighting, you know what I'm saying, this man's backyard, knowing that, you know, things might not, if the cars go wrong, you know how things go in boxing. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, he's fighting in his hometown. I don't want to get cheated. So, you know, give me a little more money. And then on boosting them part, this is what they saying. You're trying to sell us the belt. You're just basically trying to sell me the belt. You know what I'm saying? I don't agree with that in a sense, but that's how they feel. Like he's trying to really strong arm them and get as much money as possible.
But he was saying if they fight him on neutral ground, he would take less money.
I agree with that. 1.7. He would have took the 1.7.
Yeah, so he cutting them over $250,000 right back to their pocket if they just have it in a different arena. You know what I mean? Where it's fair, because he bringing the belt. You know what I mean? He the underdog, so the pressure is all on him. You know,
it's definitely on him. It's definitely on him.
And I understand. I come from an area where we hustle. You know what I mean? As far as we got a entrepreneurial spirit. You know, and the reason I bring that up is because we grew up watching people in the industry I was in ahead of us deal with major companies, and the major companies always offer you a deal, and they go, "Oh, nobody know you. We taking all the risk." And where I'm from, cats go independent on their own. They go, "Well, if you're not offering me what I want because nobody know me, then I'm gonna go out and hustle. I'm gonna build up my name, and I'm gonna do it on my own, and I'll come back later, and then we'll see what it's worth." Because the only excuse cats really got for not paying you is they say nobody knows who you are, you're not famous, you don't have a crowd. So you go, okay, well, I'm gonna go out and get me a crowd, then we'll holler. So they went out and they took that chance and they were successful in their last little title defense. And now they got an audience and they did good. So it's kind of changing the cards a little bit. You know what I mean? But you get my point? So basically they
Yeah.
don't
I
they
get what you're saying, and it
Mhm.
makes sense what you're saying. But I still can't say that Brian Norman Jr. has made a name for himself. He done great as far as his performance go.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But as far as a name, he's still not. If him and Boots get in the ring tomorrow, Boots will
Mhm.
be the A side. You see, that's the difference in the situation. In boxing, just saying whether it's fair or not, the A side gonna always be able to call the shots. It's very rare that you see. You know, we seen what happened with the Earl Spence and Turner Bud Crawford situation, where Spence done a lot of different things to make the fight
Mhm.
happen that he don't do
Mhm.
credit for. Spence took a lot of cuts that he didn't have to take as an A side, but man, that's why I always commend Spence on doing that. But
Mhm.
Brian Norman Jr. I don't know. It's hard for me to say when somebody. I don't know if I could turn down. Like I talked to Bones, somebody that's been in the ring before, different people, and they said no way possible. They turned down the 1.7. They're not turning it down. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's
Right.
each his own. For each his own. But if Brian Norman continue to fight, he will build his name. But the thing is, with a company, they looking at it like this: if we make the fight tomorrow, can you recoup our money tomorrow? Because if you can't recoup our money tomorrow, then you got to do it our way. That's the good thing, like you said, about building your name, going out, building your name, and doing it on your own. If you
Right.
see what I'm saying, Free?
But 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 what happens is, let's just say the two gentlemen they scrap and get into a fight, and then that belt is exchanged. Then they boxer gains another belt to throw under his name. So when he moves to the next fight, he took that belt with him and they added to his market value. Whereas the fighter who lost, we don't know who would have won, but I'm just giving an example. Say if Norman would have lost, okay, now he done lost his belt. You know what I mean? Now he go all the way back to the bottom and got to start all over again. And now that's the only money he gonna get. He done. Now he back to whatever y'all said he was fighting for. He never made that much money. He back below that now because he got to start over. They done gave him a short deal and they done took his belt. In the next fight, they gonna make twice as much money and he gonna make less than half. So he's saying he might as well keep his belt, build his name up, you know what I mean, and take that risk on his own because this is risk. And he's saying, hey, I would rather take a risk to make 10 million in the future, 20 million in the future, than to sell myself short and take 1.7 million now, and that could be the end of my career. You know what I mean? So basically, he leaped out on faith, you know what I mean, to do it his way and
So
pave his own way.
Go ahead, Free.
are you talking about the Brian Norman and Boots situation?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what we talking about?
I mean, I understand that. I understand what you're saying, and business wise, it makes sense. The only problem that I had with it is two things. First of all, the fight couldn't be made because Jerron Boots Ennis was already in a purse bid. The purse bid had already been scheduled to happen, so that fight couldn't have been made. But secondly, I'm off the notion of believe what you say. They said that they believe that they can beat Jerron Boots Ennis. So if you believe you can beat Jerron Boots Ennis, and that's 10 times the amount you made in your last fight,
right?
Take that money. Take that money and go out there and prove what you believe. Now, if you lose, I don't think he starts all the way back at the bottom. And the reason why I say that is because, for one, he was a champion. He was fighting a unification match. Now you have Jerron Boots Ennis on your resume. You have him on your resume. So, yeah, you lost to him, but you have him on your resume. And who's to say that, I mean, you lose by knockout. You might lose by a decision. You went the distance with Jerron Boots Ennis. You lost on the scorecards. We looked at Kern. When Kern lost to Jerron the first time, he didn't go back to the bottom of the list. he got a mandatory of fighting. I think 2 fights later. I think he
Yeah.
had another fight in
Fighting
between. He had
a
he had
fight.
the fight with Jerron Bucenis. He had another fight, and then he was the mandatory to Jerron Bucenis right away. So
Yep.
it's not necessarily that he's going to go back to the bottom of the list. It all depends on how people value you, because nobody knew who Kern was. Like, Brian Norman has somewhat of a name. He got a bigger name than Kern did. The
Yep.
only reason why people know
Did-
Kern is because he fought Jerron the first time.
Yeah, did Kern have a belt?
No,
No.
never had a belt. Never had a belt.
Nope.
Okay,
That's what I'm
okay.
saying.
He didn't have a belt.
Yeah, he never had a belt. He fought Jerron Bucenis in a voluntary the first time that they fought. Then he fought somebody else, became the mandatory to Jerron Bucenis. And when he became the mandatory, everybody knew him because he had fought Jerron the first time. So,
But he didn't have a belt. He didn't have a belt though.
Right.
That's what I'm
That
saying.
makes it even better for that. Makes it even
what
better
I'm
for
saying
him.
is, he didn't have a belt, so he didn't have to. He lost already to the champion, so he didn't have to go to the bottom of the list because he lost to the champion already. He had already lost.
Was he undefeated at the time they fought?
Kern? Yeah,
He was undefeated. Kern was undefeated.
Kern had everything that Brian Norman had right now outside of having a title is what Kern was to Jerron at that time, the first time that they fought. The only difference between Kern and Brian Norman is Kern has a belt. Brian Norman's name is bigger, and he's a champion right now. So even if he does lose, not to mention you're a champion, you can negotiate a rematch clause. You are a champion. So that gives you 2 fights, not just one. It gives you 2 because your belt is on the line as well as his belt. The same thing I think will go for anybody else that he fight as a champion, whether it's Jerron, whether it's Barrios or Stanionis, if Stanionis happens to beat Jerron. Regardless of who it is, I think whoever has a belt, they're going to negotiate a rematch clause for their belt. So if he fights Jerron for a unification and he lose, if he negotiate a rematch clause, now you get 2 fights. So now you get 2 paydays, not just one. You get 2.
Right.
Hey, A. Smith, and to let you know, Kern made $700,000 facing Boots.
This last fight, the fight that he fought Boots the first time, he made $75,000.
Right. See what I'm saying?
$75,000 the first time he fought him.
Okay. Since Boots didn't fight Norman, who did he wind up fighting?
He fought
Stanionis now for the belt.
Yeah, he's about to fight Stanionis. Well, the fight that he fought because he didn't fight Brian Norman was Kern. That's why I said that fight couldn't happen because the purse bid was already scheduled for Kern. It was already a purse bid scheduled for Kern. So that fight couldn't happen. So I wasn't on Jerron. I mean, I wasn't on Brian Norman because I knew that the fight couldn't happen. But everybody was like, but he didn't take it. It was 10 times the last amount that he got, but the fight couldn't happen because they had already scheduled a purse bid. The only way if Brian would have fought Jerron Bucenis, if Jerron would have said, I'm gonna fight you anyway, they would have been fighting for Brian Norman's belt. Jerron would have been stripped because there was already a purse bid put in place. Jerron would have been stripped.
Right.
Hey, let me ask you this, Free. Now, if he fights this guy if Boots takes hold on one second, Ishmael. If he fights this guy, Boots take care of business with Stanionis, and then do you feel like they should fight next, or what happens if Brian Norman Jr. takes the fight with this guy from Japan? How do you look at that situation then?
Well, it all depends on if Boots sends an offer, because Boots is still the A side. He's the A side.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. Boots is the A side. So if Boots has this fight with Stanionis, and let's say Boots make it through Stanionis relatively easy, and there's no injuries to Jerron Ennis, and Jerron doesn't send him an offer within 2 months, I don't have a problem with Brian Norman going over and fighting the dude from Japan because Jerron didn't send him an offer.
Right.
It's already been put out there that they want the fight with Jerron in its next. They already said that's the fight that they want next. So it's up to Eddie Hearn and Jerron's team to put an offer together and send it over to Brian Norman because he's the A side. Now, if they want to let Brian Norman be the A side, then that's on them.
Right.
But right now, Jerron Ennis is the A side. So they have to put an offer together and send it to him.
I agree with that. Hey, Smith, what you gonna say, my brother?
Oh, I got caught up in listening to what was going on.
Okay.
And,
Well, I'm gonna say this right here then, Hey, Smith. Like, so you see kind of now what we're saying, like, as far as how the money increased once it was a good fight between Boots and Curran, the first fight, people liked it. And even though that's how the money is going to increase for Brian Norman Jr., even if he does happen to lose the first fight, if he puts the rematch clause in there, there's an opportunity to come back again and make even more money. You know what I'm saying? No, we're not going to BBO. What we're not going to do is lie to the people up here on stage. He's not the A side.
That's why you in the chat, BBO.
Yeah, we're not going to lie to people. I'm not going to push that.
Jerron is the A side.
Yeah.
How the heck is Brian the A side? Brian hasn't even made $1 million in the fight.
One thing about me, A. Smith, I try not to do no lying, and I tell you
He hasn't even main event ahead. He hasn't even main event a card yet. But you said
you was on the undercard of you was on the undercard of a female fight. Shout out to him.
Like I said, this is no knock for Brian Norman. Brian Norman, he just haven't made it to that level yet. No knock for Brian Norman. Everybody got to start somewhere. He just hasn't made it to that level yet. He's not an A side. Jerron Boots Ennis wasn't an A side until maybe a year ago. Right. He wasn't an A side to a lot of these guys at welterweight. Well, I ain't gonna say a lot of these guys. He wasn't a headline to these fights up until like a year ago. He was fighting on the undercard up until like a year ago.
Now it's hard to get him on the undercard. You know what I'm saying? Because he demands that type of attention now. And like I said, there ain't nothing wrong with being a B side. You know what I'm saying? I think sometimes people have a problem with, okay, this the A, this the B. Man, I heard one thing, people don't like Shakur Stevenson, but one thing Shakur Stevenson always says, Tank the A side. You will never hear him say Tank ain't the A side. And that's just keeping it, being honest with it. You know what I'm saying? So I know that Brian Norman and them are looking for the contract to come from Boots. Boots got to send that paperwork over Eddie Hearn, like Free said. They got to be the ones sending over the contract.
Matter of fact, BBO, since you wanna run with Brian Norman as the A side, tell him to send a contract then.
Yeah,
because that's what happens. A side sends the offer, not the B side.
Right.
You want to yell out that Brian Norman is the A side, stop the cap. Tell Brian Norman to send the daggone offer then.
We know that ain't gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen because he ain't the A side. That's why it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, he like I say, this
will be the first time in history the A side make less money than the B side because Brian Norman is not gonna get paid more than Jerron. I can tell you that right now. He's not gonna get paid more.
No, he's not. He's not. And that's he's gonna make good money. He's gonna make good money when him and Boots do face.
No, he gonna definitely make good money. I mean, like I said, I'm not mad at Brian Norman for the way the thing went down because it was all a publicity stunt by Eddie Hearn. He was just trying to hype up the name of Jerron Ennis for this fight that he was having with Kern. He wanted to bring more eyes to that fight because they was talking about the Brian Norman, Brian Norman this, Brian Norman that, Jerron Ennis this, Jerron Ennis that. They wanted to see, okay, let's go watch Jerron Ennis with this guy versus Kern since they didn't make the Boots fight, and let's see how good this fight is going to be. Now, what it did was it brought more eyes to the Kern versus Boots, and it brought more eyes to Brian Norman versus the guy that he just faced. It brought more eyes to both of them. So now people want the fight because Jerron didn't look as good as everybody expected him to, and Brian Norman came out there and looked exceptionally well. So now more people wants to see this fight now. So it actually hyped up the fight because now more people wants to see it. So when he was talking about they wanted to get 2 million, he might get a little bit more than 2 million now because
he definitely
want to see it.
Hey, and
And
Brian Norman
so
made $200,000 for this last fight. He made around $200,000 was being reported, and that's not bad. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he
No,
two hundred
no,
thousand.
with that money that he got, it was already set in stone. That's the reason
Yeah,
why.
it was. You right. It
Because that was the money
was.
that fight was already lined up before Brian Norman had won the title. So that money was already set in stone. They couldn't go and change the money. It was already set up.
No,
Bob
I
Arum had
couldn't.
already made that fight before he actually won the title because they thought that he was going to lose. So they had already made that fight already. But what you was about to say, Smith?
so Norman didn't duck. He didn't duck nobody then because they
No,
already
he
had
didn't
a
duck.
first
He
bid
didn't
with
duck.
somebody.
He
I
didn't
wonder
duck.
No, he ain't done nobody.
why so many channels was running, they was running with that narrative like, oh, Norman is the duck, and had people arguing. You know what I mean? You remember
Oh
that?
yeah,
Man,
because
they was
Because
Smith,
arguing on every
go ahead.
channel over that, and it wasn't even true. Ain't that
the,
Because
something?
they don't
the
study.
reason
You
the
don't
reason
read.
why the reason why people was running with that narrative is because most of them never did the research and realized that the purse bid was already scheduled, and they
Right.
don't know
Mm,
and they don't know the rules of the purse bid because once a
mm,
purse bid has been scheduled, no other
mhm,
fight can be made for that fighter, for neither
Nope.
one of those fighters. If
mm,
if if Kern would have took another fight, Kern lose his spot as a mandatory. If Jaron Ennis would have took another fight, Jaron Ennis loses his belt. So
Yeah.
mm,
people don't know the rules of a purse bid being scheduled. So they
mm.
think, oh well, he could just pull out. He's the champion. He could just pull out and go fight. Unification trumps mandatory. Not when a mandatory has already been ordered.
Right. Only way,
Mm.
like everything Free said, only three ways you can get out of a situation like that, from what he said at the end, and two, of the mandatory has to be willing to take a payout. Different reasons, you know what I'm saying? Like he's saying, they got to be willing
Right.
to take money. You got to be. They like,
You got to
okay,
take step aside. And
step
at
aside
that
money.
time, Kern didn't want no step aside. He wanted his
Nope.
title shot. They
Yeah.
had won. They won the purse bid. His team won the purse bid. So
So he didn't.
no,
So he didn't want the money. I mean, he didn't want the step aside money. He wanted the title shot.
yeah,
Yeah.
he wanted
I
the title
wonder
shot
why would he pass up on the money to
because the
take the
first
title shot?
you got to remember the first time that he fought Jerome Boots Ennis, it was
Mhm.
for the IBF intern title. It was
Yeah.
for the
Okay.
IBF intern title because whoever won that fight was next in line to fight the winner of Spence versus Bud. So
Okay.
Jerron won that fight. He was the mandatory to Bud. Bud said, it's a lose-lose for me. I don't get
Yeah.
anything out of fighting Jerron Ennis. So Bud dropped the belt. That's how Jerron got the belt because he dropped it. So Jerron
Okay.
was automatically elevated to the IBF champion, and he fought I think it was David Avanesian.
Yeah.
He fought David Avanesian to solidify him as a champion. He was already awarded the belt, but to solidify him as the champion, he had to fight David Avanesian. That's when they presented him with the actual IBF title because the
Yeah.
only title that he had around his waist was the intern title. Once he came to the ring and he fought and won, he got presented the actual title. So now Jaron Ennis is the title holder. He's no longer fighting for the intern title. Now Kern is in position to be the mandatory for the champion. So Kern was like, nah, I
Taking my
know what I
shot.
did. I know what I did the first time I fought him. I think I could beat him now. And so he
Taking
was
my
like,
shot.
nah, I don't want to step aside. I want the actual title shot. Because he believed
Hmm.
that he could beat Jaron.
And after one thing I do like after the fight, they asked Kern, what went wrong the second fight. Kern said, man, the guy's good. He's good. You know what I'm saying? He gave him his respect. And I feel like with Kern, though, A. Smith, because he didn't have a lot of fights, nobody knew about him in the United States. Nobody really knew how good he was. I think right now, Kern beats a lot of the 147-pound fighters, man. The dude can fight. That's my personal opinion. I think he's a
Yeah,
decent fighter.
I think he beats a lot of them, and the ones that he doesn't beat, I think he gives them a lot of problems.
Yep. You're right, Free. He give him problems. That dude can fight, man. Nobody knew nothing about Kern until Boots fought him.
Yeah. And
Now,
that's the same, and that's why I say I don't think Brian Norman is in a lose-lose situation because if he loses to Jaron Ennis, you just fought the best guy at 147. It was a unification match. Like I said, you can negotiate a rematch. So you lose to him, you get another fight with him right back. You get another immediate rematch right back with him. So now you get 2 paydays. Not only that, now your name becomes bigger because now you got more eyes on you because people already know who Jaron Ennis is. Now they get to know who Brian Norman is. So if you go in there and you put up a good fight, but you lose a close decision, it's not a bad loss. Even if you get stopped, it's still not a bad loss because now people know who you are. Yeah, you lost to Brian Norman. I mean, you lost to Jaron Ennis, but now people know who you are. So now you're still going to have people looking at you because they're going to remember you from fighting Jaron Ennis. So if you does get your way back up to another title fight, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, I remember him. That's the dude that fought Jaron Ennis. So people know who you are. They're going to be like, well, he didn't beat Jaron Ennis, but that dude can punch. So he might be able to beat him. He just couldn't beat Jaron. So
he would have lost his belt too, though, right?
He would have lost his belt, but I mean it's going to happen if he loses to anybody else. You rather lose your belt to the number 1 guy, or you rather lose your belt to somebody who's coming up?
Right.
I'd rather lose to the number 1 guy.
That's not a bad look. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, y'all, but he ain't lost yet. He still got it.
I'm not saying that he lost. I'm saying, which one would you rather lose your belt to? Would you rather lose your belt to the number 1 guy, or would you rather lose it to somebody who's coming up that's not a champion? I'd rather lose to the guy that's number 1 than to lose to somebody who's below me, because I'm a champion too. So I'd rather lose to somebody that's above me, not somebody that's below me.
But if they don't think they're gonna lose, they not even thinking like that. Like, I'd rather lose to him than him. They thinking like this.
I'm not saying they are thinking like that.
Yeah, you good. I'm just talking in general. I know you on point. Like you know more than me, so I'm just.
Hold on, let me ask y'all. Think about it this way right here. He's not thinking about it like that. But the more you take these chances and give people opportunities, you know what I'm saying? Eventually, you can have a bad night at the office and lose to somebody you weren't supposed to lose to, and that's when it hurts you. If him and Boots fight, and he does happen to lose that fight and puts out a great performance, it doesn't do nothing but lift his name up even higher.
Now that's something that would have played a major factor in his ranking system. If he would have lost to this guy last Saturday, if he would have lost to that guy, not only would he have lost his belt, but he would have dropped down in the ranking. And don't forget, it probably wasn't no rematch clause in the fight because that contract was already signed. That contract was already signed. So if he would have lost, he wouldn't have had a chance to fight for that belt again, unless they revamped. They admitted a rematch clause to that contract. But that would be something that the challenger would have had to sign for as well. So the challenger got to agree to that, to a rematch clause, because you can't just say, oh, I'm a champion, I automatically get a rematch clause. No, that got to be negotiated, because the challenger could say, no, I don't want to rematch you. If I win, I win. If you win, you win. They could say, no, I don't want a rematch clause.
Definitely. Man.
I know one. I'm enjoying their hustle though, man, because it's like they took a chance. You know what I mean? And so it's like they could have went into that fight, and we have put it at that number. We have put it at that 1.7, right? He could have went into that fight, and we, like y'all said, he could have lost. You know what I mean? So he would have got the 1.7. Then he would have lost his belt. He would have went back home and tried to come back. You know what I mean? Keep this thing going.
Like I said, like me, I'm one of the ones I don't even pay attention to the 1.7 because that was an offer that was put out there that was never going to be given.
It wasn't make the real. Fight. Yeah.
Now, but I'm gonna tell you what that 1.7 does. I'm gonna tell you what it does do.
What you finna say?
What that 1.7 does do now is you can't come to me less than 1.7. You got to start off at 1.7.
Yeah,
and
because that was the offer that you left off at. So now you got to start at 1.7.
Hey, Free, let me tell you this: what it also done.
That's a good point.
Makes sense, but think about this, y'all. That 1.7 also was a gauge for Eddie Hearn them as well. because we trying to see what you will take. We know the fight can't happen right now, but just in case it does, he turned down the 1.7, right? Had he took the 1.7, Eddie Hearn and them, okay, well, we know we can come to him with this right here, and he'll take it. Now we know we got to come a little higher. You see what I'm saying? They got somewhere to start working at if the fight happens. They got a number.
They can't come less than 1.7. That's where they got to start at.
Right. They got to start right there.
You can't come less than 1.7 because now your last offer to me was 1.7. So anything less than 1.7, I'm not taking that. You offer me 1.7, and why am I taking anything less than that?
And you know what he would have made
free?
He would have made if he would have fought for 1.7. Just say it would have happened hypothetically. He would have made around 800,000. Took home around 800,000 for what I see.
Yeah, somewhere around there, around 800,000 because it's not a pay-per-view fight, so it would have been guaranteed money.
Yep, 800,000.
He could make more. He gonna make way more than that.
Yeah,
he probably make more than that with the guy who walked up on him in Vegas with his promotion team. You know what I mean?
If I was Brian Norman, what I will be trying to do is I will be trying to get Mario Barrio in the ring. Forget the Japanese dude. I will be trying to get Mario Barrio in the ring because now I can unify those two belts. Jaron Ennis or Stanionis, whichever one wins that fight, they got the other two. Now this is for undisputed. It's much bigger now. It's not for a unification. It's for undisputed.
For all the marbles. All the marbles.
So now we could start the bidding at 3 million.
3 million. Yeah.
We could start the bidding at 3 million. This is for undisputed. We can make this a pay-per-view fight.
How old is Mr. Norman?
He's 23.
He's 23. 23.
Yep.
He's 23. How old is Boots?
Boots 27.
27. Okay.
He's 27. So that's what I will be trying to do. I'll be trying to get Mario Barrio in the ring. I'll be going after him because
he's the weakest champion.
Yeah, I mean he's the weakest link out of all of the champions right now. But if I can get that belt from Mario Barrio and the winner of Stanionis is the unified champion, now we can make that fight next. I don't want no other fight next. I want that fight next. Now this is for undisputed. Now we can both walk away making somewhere between $5 and $6 million because now it's for undisputed. Because getting that belt make you worth more money. So if he get the belt from Barrios, then he worth more as far as at the bargaining table, just because he got a belt. It's worth more if the other person, how bad the other person won. We know that Boots said he wants to be undisputed before he moves to 54.
He's not leaving 47 without being undisputed.
Ben know that Boots wants to be undisputed. You can charge, you can levy his wants. You can charge a little bit more for his wants. It's almost like when you take your kids to the store and they said they want some chocolate ice cream. Okay, well, you want some chocolate ice cream, I need you to go home and clean your room. They're gonna go clean that room because they want that chocolate ice cream. If they don't clean that room, they ain't getting no ice cream. Well, you want these belts. I need you to give me $3 million for these belts. How bad do you really want these belts?
Yeah. And it's still not a guarantee you're gonna get them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
so when they ask for more money because they got a belt, it's kind of normal. They know you want it, they gonna ask for a couple more dollars. You know what I mean? Which makes sense because once you get it, you're gonna make that money back anyways.
That's the same thing.
It makes sense.
It's the same thing that Cater Plant did to Canelo. I got the last belt that you need for undisputed. You want this fight? I need $10 million. Canelo was like, man, I'm not giving him $10 million. Cater Plant said, well, you ain't getting this belt then. He said, man, go ahead and give him $10 million, man. Fuck, give him $10 million.
Give it to him.
So that's part of the game then. Yeah, that's part of the game.
That's the way Bud did with Earl. Earl wanted to be undisputed. He said, well, if you want undisputed, I need 50-50. Earl was like, man, go ahead and give him 50-50. Give him what he wants. I want to be undisputed. Sometimes it pay off, sometimes it doesn't.
That's the game. That's the name of the game right there. You gotta take a chance. It's chess. It's chess, not checkers. All right. Man, I gotta get out of here and get ready for work, man.
All right, man.
Appreciate talking with y'all, man.
All right, good talking to you, brother. Good talking. You know what I mean?
Free, let everybody know what's going on. Thank you, A. Smith. Nice talking with you again, bro.
All right, likewise. Y'all take care. Blessings.
All right. I'm gonna get with you, CDK, for this interview. I'm waiting to hear back from him.
Okay. Take us on out.
All right.
What y'all going live? What time tonight? Y'all going live?
8 o'clock. 8:05 to be exact.
8:05, man. BBO Boxing LLC. I'm saying it right? Sports
Yeah.
Talk. Did he change it? Did he change it yet?
Yes, sir.
All right, we out.
We out.